Hello dear students, welcome to video 5 on the topic chemical kinetics. I hope you are all ready with your pen and paper to take down notes for offline reference. In the previous video, we've already covered the concept of rate of reaction, rate constant. We've also spoken about various orders of the reaction and the unit of the rate constant or the specific rate constant for different orders of the reaction. What are we going to do today? Today we are going to start with what we call as the integrated rate equation for various orders of the reaction. Now this appears very complex. As soon as the word integration comes in, students, the non-mathematical students who do not have mathematics at the higher level seem to get nervous. I'm going to help you come out of that nervousness today. What you have to do is pay attention and keep writing when you are understanding. When we started the topic, what did we do? We expressed the rate of reaction in terms of the initial concentration of the reactant. So for example, I have got a reaction A changing to B, where A is my reactant and B is my product. Now here, how had we expressed the rate of the reaction? It is directly proportional to the concentration of A to the power of X, where X is determined experimentally, right? We had also defined the terms instantaneous and average rate of the reaction. Now for instantaneous rate of the reaction, if you remember, what had we done is, if we have to determine the instantaneous rate, we draw the tangent at that particular point. Now this is, let's suppose, at time t. Now let's suppose I want to determine the instantaneous rate of reaction at time t1. So what am I going to do? Again, I am going to draw a perpendicular from here up to the graph, right? And then again we are going to draw a tangent at that point. There we go. Now, if I was talking about the average rate of the reaction, so what we are taking is, we are just taking the initial minus the final. Now, that gives us a very rough idea because, initial minus, sorry, it's the other way around, correct? Final minus the initial, and we don't forget the negative sign, correct? When we are talking about the average rate, that means the change over a period of time. But if you notice, our change in the concentration is not a linear effect. First, when the reaction starts, there is a sharp change in the concentration of the reactants. Then it stabilizes, and then what happens is, again it becomes a constant till it becomes a zero if the reaction is proceeding to completion. In between, the rate of reaction is varying, or it is different from what it was at the beginning. So if supposing I have to determine the rate of a reaction, what I can do is, I can bring together these instantaneous rates at various points and club them together to give me the final rate of the reaction, to give me a more exact idea or a more correct idea about the rate of the reaction. So what do? First, what we've done is, we have broken down the entire rate into smaller parts, what we call as differentiate. You remember, how did we write the rate of the reaction? We wrote it as minus dA by dt. Yes, this is how we express the rate of the reaction in terms of the reactant, where I had told you that this d means the differential, a small bit of it, where the time is tending to 0. What do we do in order to collect these small variations in rate of reaction? We bring them together. Now, when we bring them together, we shall use what we call as integration. So, these two things we are going to do. I've tried to simplify it. Please understand over here, I am not teaching maths over here, and this is just a simplified version of just a simple way of explaining what is differentiation and integration. Differentiation I'll explain to especially the non-mathematical students. Differentiation means you break it down, you tear it down to smaller parts, just like we did when we determined the instantaneous rate of the reaction. Integrate means when I'm talking about the reaction as a whole, I collect all the instantaneous rates and bring them together, I integrate. So what formulas? Now, you don't have to learn too many formulas. As a beginner of chemistry, you can just, for the present, rely on these two formulas. If I differentiate x to the power n with respect to x, then it becomes nx to the power n minus 1. So, for example, if I differentiate, let's say, d by dx, we say d by dx of x to the power 5. So this will be, now n over here is 5, x to the power 5 minus 1 gives me 5x to the power 4. On the other hand, when I integrate, so x to the power n dx, integrating with respect to dx, so this changes to x to the power n plus 1 upon n plus 1. Got it? So again, let's suppose I am integrating, let's integrate x to the power 5 with respect to dx. So what do we get over here? X to the power 5 plus 1 divided by 5 plus 1. And we also get an integration constant if we are not using the limits over here. What are those limits? I shall talk about it a little later. Or should I explain it now itself? Okay, let me explain it now itself. What is this integration constant? I said that integration means I am collecting, bringing the stuff together. So then there should be a limit, right? In what range am I collecting it? Those are the lower limits and the upper limits. So when, let's suppose I'm talking about my chemical reaction and I integrate the rate or I integrate the concentration of the reactant, right? Now when I do that, I am going to do it within the limits. So when the limit is such that the initial concentration is represented by A0 and the concentration after time t is represented as AT. Too much to absorb? Don't worry, relax. We are going to come to it. Limits, we will collect it within brackets, okay? You will understand once I apply it. Don't get nervous at this time. Just relax, take a deep breath and let's get going. So I'm going to first start with the zero order reaction. You remember a zero order reaction? A reaction wherein A changes to B and the rate of the reaction depends upon the initial concentration of A to the power of 0. And 0 means it is independent of the initial concentration of the reactant. So supposing I have to draw a graph of the rate of the reaction against concentration for a zero order reaction, what will be the graph? Think about it. So, zero order reaction. I have got a reaction A changing to B plus C, where B and C are my products. I am going to talk about this zero order reaction and I will start with when the time is 0 seconds or 0 minutes or 0 hours. The initial concentration of the reactant is A0. Now, if you notice over here, I've put the square brackets indicating the concentration in moles per liter or moles per decimeter cube and a 0. That means at 0th time. And after time t, the concentration of the reactants becomes AT, right? Okay, noted this much. Let's carry it forward. Now, how can I express the rate of this particular reaction? There are two different ways that I told you. Minus dA by dt is equals to dB by dt. You remember this? We can also write the rate of the reaction as R is equals to K, that is rate constant, into A to the power of 0. A to the power 0, anything to the power 0 is always 1. Now, if we are talking about the same reaction, that means the rate of reaction, whether given by the differential method or by the rate expression, they should be equal. Correct? So, what do? We can put it as minus dA by dt is equals to Ka to the power of 0. And this is called as the differential rate equation. We have differentiated it, broken down into smaller parts. Now, A to the power is 0 is 1. So, what is there is I can simply forget about it for now. Got it? Minus dA is equals to, I take the dt onto the right hand side, so it becomes k dt. Let me simplify dA, that will give me minus k dt. What I've done is taken the negative sign to the right hand side, simple, or you can say switch places. Now this, as I said, this is breaking it down into smaller parts. To bring it all together, what am I going to do? Yes, we are going to integrate. And here what are we integrating? We are simply integrating 1. Now understand this small bit over here. I told you the formula of x to the power n into dx. That means when we integrate this. And what did I say? X to the power n plus 1 upon n plus 1. Now here I've got no x, there's only the differential, right? What do we do now? Yes, what does it mean? It means I have got concentration of A to the power of 0. Got it? So what am I actually integrating? I am integrating this term. Now apply the formula. So this becomes A to the power of n is your 0 plus 1 upon 0 plus 1, that gives you 1. So what are you left with over here? Correct. So you get the concentration of A, and okay, for now just don't bother about this. Concentration of A is equals to minus K. Again, what will you get over here? T. Now, what is to be understood? As I said, integrating means collecting, bringing it all together. So, I have to now integrate it. I am going to integrate between certain limits, right? I am going to, how much can I hold in one go? When the initial concentration is A0, the concentration after time is AT. The time we are starting is at 0, the time we are taking is at t. These are called limits. So I'll integrate it. So I have A0, AT, and I have 0 and t. Is this clear now? Got it? Now, that means first what you do is you put the value of AT in A. So I get AT minus. So just simply understand it as final minus initial. So final minus initial, upper limit minus lower limit. Same way, final minus the initial. So one by one you put the upper limit and then the lower limit and you subtract the two. That gives you the difference. Got it? Now k into 0. K into 0 would be 0. Got it? So we got here AT minus A0 is equals to minus KT. This is what we call as the integrated rate law equation. So I have collected the small bits, put them together to give me a single equation called as the integrated rate law equation. So I hope you understand now the difference between the differential rate equation and the integrated rate law equation. How are we going to use this? We can use this in two different ways. One, we can use it to obtain the rate constant algebraically. So if you notice, I have divided it into two parts, algebraically and graphically. How am I going to do it algebraically? Probably you can also write down the notes like this only, so it's easier for you to understand. Our rate equation is AT is equals to minus KT plus A0, right? I'm not speaking the square brackets, it's understood over here. I'm concerned about this rate constant, right, for the zero order reaction. So KT is equals to A0 minus AT. Therefore, what is K equal to? A0 minus AT divided by T. In other words, your rate constant for a zero order reaction is given by the initial concentration minus the final concentration divided by the time interval. Your rate constant is directly proportional to the concentration over here, right? Let us now observe the graphical aspect of it. AT is equals to minus KT plus A0. You remember you did the equation of a line, right? You remember y is equals to mx plus c, where y and x are the variables, m is the slope, c is the constant. I start with a fixed concentration of the reactant. So that means my c corresponds to A0. What is varying over here is AT. How is that AT varying? With respect to time. Got it? So that means my slope corresponds to minus K. So put them together. So this corresponds to y value. This corresponds to the slope, and my fixed value is A0. That means my y-intercept is A0. In other words, when the time of this reaction is 0, your concentration will be equal to the initial concentration, and your slope of this graph is negative K. Got it? So if I have to draw a graph, how will my graph look? See over here, we've got the concentration of A on the y-axis and the time on the x-axis. So if I draw a graph for a zero order reaction from this integrated rate law equation, how will my graph look? It is at zero time. The concentration is, yes, it is A0. Got it? It's not 0. The concentration is not 0. But as time goes further, the concentration actually decreases. So I will have a graph something like this. And the slope of this graph, m, gives me the value of minus k, or k is equals to minus the slope of this graph. absorb it, understand it, go slowly through it, try the derivation again. It may be so that you may not be asked the derivation, but at this point of time when you are learning chemistry for your higher education, it is essential that you understand the whys and hows. Don't memorize, go slowly, do it yourself, understand the basics first. And could you figure out the rate of the reaction with regard to concentration? How will my graph look? Yes, the rate of reaction is independent of the initial concentration of the reactants. Got it? So you understand the difference in the two graphs? And what are we doing till now? These are graphs for what order of reaction? Yes, all the while we have been talking about zero order reaction, and you must be having a lot of notes in place now for this particular heading. Do you or not? And make sure that you revise them before the next session, because I'm going to take up a few numericals as well. Now that I've got the integrated rate law equation in place, let's find out the time in which the concentration of the initial reactant that you have taken is reduced to half of its initial value. Sorry, this 0 has to come outside. So here. So that means the final concentration after time t becomes half of its A0. So what if you put the values over here and tell me what do you get? Try doing it yourself. I'm waiting for you to do it. So while you are at it, let me explain the term half-life period. Half-life, the time in which its life becomes half. That means we define it as the time within which the initial concentration of the reactants is reduced to half of its initial concentration, and that is what you are trying to determine over here. So what you can actually do is you can put a small half over here when you are figuring out the formula for half-life. Okay, are you done? Would you like to match your answers? There we go. So K is equals to A0 minus AT upon T. Here we've got the concentration is reduced to half of its initial value in T half, what we call as the half-life period. So when you subtract, what do you get? Yes, the final expression T half is equals to concentration of A, the initial concentration of the reactant, divided by 2 into the rate constant. So you notice over here the half-life period is directly proportional to the initial concentration of the reactant. Correct? By the way, this can be reactant, this can be reactants as well. Just to simplify the things, I have taken it as a single reactant. Now go ahead. Oh, did I show it to you? Go ahead, draw the graph. Draw the graph of half-life against the initial concentration of the reactant. Now that you've already had a peep into it, let me show it to you. So here we've got a graph of the half-life against concentration. Without looking into your book, can you tell me how was the graph for rate of reaction against concentration for a zero order reaction? Try and recall. Okay. And How was your graph for the concentration against time for a zero order reaction based on its differential rate equation? So you see the interesting trend over here, right? So this way you will be, if you tabulate all the three graphs, you will be able to compare your learning and you'll be able to correlate your learning more easily. Okay, now food for thought. What will be the unit of half-life period? Think about it and be ready with your answer in the next video, where we shall be taking up a few numericals based on, yes, the zero order reaction. And I repeat, do not get worried about differentiation and integration. If you do not know differentiation and integration, you can still easily manage the numericals. That only comes in handy when you have to do the derivation. So keep a smile and continue with your learning in an easy and relaxed way. Stay happy, stay connected, because I'm coming back with video number 6 on the topic. See you soon.